Dear students, I am Abdul Rahman, Assistant Professor of English, Government First Grade College, Chennagiri. I am discussing here about the Victorian Literature Part 1, which is prescribed for BA, Optional English, 5th semester, Davangere University. This is my 13th session I am discussing here. I am discussing here about the poem which is prescribed for the fifth semester English optional students, written by Alfred Lord Tennyson. So we have introduction about the poet here. Already I have introduced you to the poet in the last session itself. Again, I try to briefly introduce you once again to remember it. Alfred Lord Tennyson was born on August 6th, 1809 in Lincolnshire, the fourth of the 12th children. He is a moralist, a great poet of nature, a real artist, linking visual pictures with the musical expressions, an excellent choice and taste of works. His famous poems are Ulysses, In Memoriam, Titanus, and the Passing of the Year. So, as far the recap is concerned, that in the last session, we have discussed the brief introduction of Alfred Lord Tennyson, his techniques of narration, and characteristics of Tennyson's poetry, the style and popular major poems themes were discussed. Yes. Now, I would like to talk about the learning objectives of this session here, that the students enabled to understand or appreciate the poem here, and the students enable them to understand the thought and imagination contained in the poem. The learning outcome, that our students will know how to elaborate an idea in the poem and how to study a poem from the examination point of view. The students will be able to comment on the undying spirit of the Tennyson's poetry. We have the poems, that original reading of poem is necessary. Now it is not possible to read the poem completely here. Before starting the poem, I would like to introduce you few important points about the poem Ulysses is concerned. So, the speaker of this poem, Ulysses, has returned to Ithaca after a long exile of fighting enemies and protecting his realm. He has devoted all his life participating in wars and discovering places by traveling to unnamed lands full of danger and insecurity. He starts to lament his life. He presents himself in a monologue and cries out boldly that there is merely no progress in a life of an idle king. He feels trapped to this mundaneness of life. So he reminds himself of the time when his life was free and crude. He wishes to go back to traveling, which gave him enough experiences to cherish all different climates. He wishes to drink life to the rim with no boundaries with the people who accompanied him in those days. He tries to declare the lifestyle he has found solace in, which doesn't match the life of a stately king. Now he is old and he tries to achieve his qualities he possessed when he was young, and one cannot separate him from his adventures. He was the part of the Trojan War and drank willfully on that night as winners. Tennyson in Ulysses shows Ulysses right at the beginning expressing dissatisfaction and being condemned to live an idle life in an unexciting home in a barren, rocky country, Ithaca. So these remarks of Ulysses about his wife Penelope and his people do not do him credit as his son Telemachus, who is ruling now. They indicate he is self centered and has a high opinion of himself. From line 9 to 10, we can analyze this poem as Ulysses speaks of what happened when he was at sea. That is the past experience he has shown. These varied experiences come to him when, through the smoothly moving currents, the rain bearing constellation, the Hades made the sea turbulent and dimmed one's vision of it. It means that he has faced all the difficulties and happiness in his life when he was under the voyage. From line 18 to 21, we can analyze like this that Ulysses expresses what he has gained from his travels, means almost he has got very good experience. That Ulysses was the hero of Homer's Odyssey. According to the epic, he returned at last from his wanderings to his native city of Ithaca. Tennyson expresses the hero's life of inactivity as fatiguing to him. From line 22 to 24, we can analyze in this way that Ulysses says how he has observed men and manners as he went through cities. If he is to give up his adventurous life and remain in Ithaca, his life would be like a piece of metal gathering rust when not regularly used. That the sword without use. The metal shines out when always we used it. He does not want to ruin his life by stagnation. That is ultimately what he suggests. So, this is the first part of the poem that we have come across, the analysis, and the remaining part I will discuss in the session number 14. Yes, there are some multiple choice questions have been asked here that easily you can uh, identify the right answer here. That Tennyson's Ulysses is primarily an example of a dramatic monologue. I have already introduced you. Then the second question, third question we have, fourth question. This is the fourth question. At the beginning of the poem Ulysses, what mood might best describe Ulysses? Bored and restless. Isn't it so? So, as I have also given you assignments, that these assignments you try to write it down, that you will become perfect. Sketch the character of Ulysses. Comment on the philosophy of life in Tennyson's Ulysses. For further reading, if you want to read more and more, you want to gain more knowledge, please go through the book which was prescribed for BA students. by Orient Blocks one, that is Victorian literature and modern Indian literature, you know. And you can also get more information from this website www.enotes.com. Okay, thank you for listening me. Have a nice day. Thank you.